I'm with Sahil and Neil. Just talked to Dean a little bit about what's going on with you guys. Neil, you've had a huge day. Can you tell me what happened?
Well, yes, it's been a huge day. We announced the combination with Closing Folders. So we acquired Closing Folders. We announced it today. And, we're super excited about it.
What exactly is the partnership for everybody who hasn't seen the press release?
Sure. Closing Folders is in the legal transaction management business, and it's a company. I'll let Sahil talk about sort of how they originated. But from an iManage perspective, we always look for opportunities that sort of meet a certain set of criteria. Does it add value to the end user? Does iManage bring something to this organization that adds value to the value proposition that they have for customers, as well as to the organization itself? And does it add human capital to iManage? Are we adding people that make iManage better in more ways than one? And so with Closing Folders, I think we found an organization that shares similar values, what we consider success and what we consider to be important for customers, and shares similar ambitions for what we want to get done. And we felt that iManage can help Closing Folders achieve both of those.
I like the idea of the ambition being in line. Do you want to talk a little bit with me about that process, Hill? Like, how exactly are you guys going to move to the next step now? What's next on your radar?
Yeah, for sure. So, we at Closing Folders, we've had a good amount of success at selling to law firms. We've had a lot of usage. A lot of people love using Closing Folders, but the one thing that always comes up is there's always a friction point with getting the documents to and from a document management system like iManage. It's still worth it because people still use Closing Folders, but if we can get rid of that friction point just as a base case, it'll just make Closing Folders that much more valuable, and iManage work that much more valuable because now it'll have all this other functionality we can get into specifics, but things like creating signing packets automatically, creating closing books for your deals, and a whole bunch of workflow automation that perhaps a lot of document management systems don't come with. So that was a big thing is taking away friction from the process so people can just have a single source of truth and live in iManage, live in Closing Folders, and those aren't two different things. They're just going to be one thing. As a base case, that's one thing, but we have big plans for the future, which we can talk about.
I like very much when you guys both are talking, and I've heard you talk, Neil, at other points about the value add proposition, that there's always something next. What you guys kind of see in the pipeline as next pieces of this? Because clearly this isn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning. What would you say would be the next piece for each of you? And then what would be a reach item? How would you continue to innovate within kind of this space?
Sure. So remember, this is day one, not even day one of the two companies coming together. So, in terms of ambition, what we're hearing customers tell us is there's a big emphasis on productivity. There's a big emphasis on empowering users with better tools. I think end users are getting much more smarter about what they want to make them productive. And then there's a lot of pressure from clients for better service, for more efficient service. But there's also this quest for reducing complexity. And I think when you bring vendors and applications together, either through integration or through acquisition, like we're talking about, you can both reduce the complexity that it takes to get this value to the customer, but you can also improve security. You can reduce friction, like Sahil was talking about. And I see us innovating along both those dimensions. So for example, iManage has tools for governance, and those tools will be able to push security out into the closing folders. If you've applied an ethical wall, you don't have to worry about that ethical wall being violated in the transaction management system. So those are the vectors in which we expect to innovate. And of course, our process, just like closing folders, is to engage with customers, get their feedback, develop a roadmap, which we will be doing in the coming weeks, and then execute on it.
The one thing that often comes up is, are you selling to the users or are you selling to IT, right? And it's kind of an understandable dichotomy, right? Because sometimes the two aren't aligned. But I think, especially with cloud, there is some alignment there, and it seems counterintuitive because cloud seems scary to some people. But take some things like a small law firm can come to us and they can get deployed. Like we can get deployed at that firm in 20 minutes. They come in, sign an order form, deployed in 20 minutes. We have all the certifications. IT is happy with the way everything's set up, and then the users who have a deal landing right that instant can get started on it. I mean, that's a win-win for both scenarios, right? So that's something we can do with closing folders with the help of iManage and their security and governance workflows, I think, or their framework. I think everyone's going to be happy: the users, the end users, as well as IT and firm administration.
Do you think that, this is a question for both of you because you're looking at this from different endpoints. Do you think that IT is leveraging a little bit more of, kind of their seat at the table right now because of COVID, because of work from home, and because frankly, you guys are partnering to make something new and certainly an end user much more happy with the workflow process here?
Yeah, I think I think firms are looking at IT from multiple perspectives. One is certainly making sure that the table stakes are available, and I think IT has the approval ratings of IT have gone up as a result of the people understanding the importance of it. I think the other bit that firms are looking for, which is more subtle, is they are looking for IT for resilience. And by resilience, it's not resilience in an IT sense. It's resilience. It's finding multiple ways to get things done, to get work done, not just having your systems up. And if you're a transactional practice, having the practice of law, be digital, which is what closing folders does, adds resilience to your workflow. And it's certainly something that was attractive for us when we looked at what legal transaction management does for a customer.
Do you think that IT is going to have a different seat at the table now, especially looking into the end of, let's say Q3, Q4, and then Q1?
I think IT is, they're the purchasers, they're the gatekeepers. I mean, they're always going to have a seat at the table. I think with the changes that have happened recently, some of that authority has devolved. Not to say IT doesn't have the authority, but I think if you talk to a thoughtful IT person, they're going to say, I have lost a lot of control over how people use software. And by that, I mean, people can't just go out and buy whatever software that they want, but you can't have people going around to people's computers to set up software. You can't have a whole bunch of professional services staff from a vendor come in and just like set everyone up in an office, right? Because everyone's devolved, everyone's in their home. So what you want is software that's easy to use. I mean, everyone says their software is easy to use, but do you have metrics to prove that it's easy to use? And I think this is kind of a shift for enterprise software is, are people enthusiastically and lovingly almost, which is a crazy word, but lovingly and enthusiastically using software and setting it up themselves and using it. I think we should hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I think, I say this, because I think people love closing folders. When we built closing folders, we didn't, our philosophy was it's better to have some people love you than a lot of people like you. And I think that's really led to where we've gone. And I think we share a lot of those values with iManage as well. So that's kind of where I see IT going, I think, is kind of more to the self-serve model.
We've talked a lot over the last few months, last few years, specifically about cloud and cloud security. And I think that those obviously were buzzwords, but now that we're looking, at the data, since we're all big data people, and I've just seen the tech survey data pieces come out about cloud adoption, and cloud security. What do you think is going to be the next move to cloud? What do you guys think is innovative there? And do you think cloud security is going to be something we're talking about in 2 years?
Well, I think security in general is certainly very, very important as a result of cyber threats, right? And because of that, you've got the reputation of the firm and the very future of the firm that's linked into how you run systems. And that is not just about security of your cloud or security of where your information is stored. It's also about how you change the culture of the organization so that you develop secure working habits. And that's the reason why we at iManage, for example, have invested in security and governance as an entirely separate pillar. And it's to develop a framework and a culture where you are fundamentally more secure from the types of threat vectors that you see today.
Any thoughts, Sahil, at all about what we're going to see in the next few years on kind of cloud and cloud security?
Yeah, I think it's not going away. It's going to remain an important issue. Some of the tension I kind of see is providing great customer support and customer service, and how that relates to security, right? So I think it's commonplace to think of IT security as hardening your servers, having intrusion prevention systems, and thinking about it in a technical way. But I think the way a lot of breaches happen is using things like social engineering. Getting on the phone, and being like, this person's away on vacation, but I really need their access to their account because this deal is about to close. Can you please help me out? And it's a human tendency to try to help things out, right? So that's something we've thought a lot about, right? Because like at Closing Folders, we really pride ourselves, at iManage Closing Folders, I should say, we really pride ourselves on great customer support, right? People pick up the phone in the middle of their deal, in the middle of the night, they want to get an answer to a question. Somebody's standing by to help them with those very specific fact-based questions. But you don't want to get played. You don't want to get social engineered for that. So how do you do that? Like, we had to think about these things when we were getting our SOC 2 certification. So yeah, like, it's not going away. And if anything, the attacks are going to get and the attackers are going to get more sophisticated. So yeah, it's a never-ending battle. And I think the vendors who think through these things and get ahead of the issue are going to find themselves in a good position.
Well, I think between Closing Folders and iManage, you guys are in a great position to take the next innovative leap forward. Thank you both for joining me today. One more quick question for each of you. What are you excited about for ILTA-On? This is the end of the first day. Anything interesting catching your eye for the rest of the week?
Well, from my perspective, ILTA-Con was like a family reunion. It's very unique to this industry, where you share information, you socialize, and so one of the best things that's happened to me today is just to see the faces of lots of the people that I would typically meet there, and I'm hoping to meet a lot more over the course of the week.
Yeah, same. I'm really looking forward to meeting people. One of the good things about meeting people on Zoom, this is a bit embarrassing to admit, is I'd always have to keep looking down their name badge to try to remember their names, and now I don't have to do that. I can just see their names in front of me, so I don't have to do the awkward glance down. So that's kind of nice.
That's a great answer.
Yeah,
great answer.
I've been thinking about this. And the other thing is, my wife and I just had our first baby, so I was going to be in Nashville for this, and let's just say there was a bit of tension in the house. But now that I can just end the session and go back to hanging out with the baby, it's just amazing. So I think it's best of both worlds.
Well, I'm glad we could provide a smooth route for you on that one, and I'm glad I got to talk to you both. Thank you guys so much. Yeah. We will see you virtually tomorrow at ILTA-On 2020. Sure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.